Gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Darren Nesbit, activist, editor of Lightpaper, author of most famous song in the world since 2020, picking up the all unofficial charts and especially freedom rallies. We are the 99%. Welcome, Darren.
How you doing, Rad? Nice to be here.
Thank you for finding time. I wanted to speak with you about your newest campaign, which is Cashless Freedom Campaign. I'd like to talk about this. Yes, we see all seeing two red monitoring eyes that will forever check our spending. So if you can talk us through why we are in a bit of a pickle with what is being planned for us and what's the remedy for that.
Sure, man. Okay, so where do we start? Programmable digital currency, the CBDC, central bank digital currency. Most of the public haven't heard about this. The odd member of the public might come across it, but mostly activists are going to see this this message. And the public don't know. We know, the World Economic Forum and the Bilderberg and all these high-level meetings have been talking about all this stuff. And I know governments are talking about it. So, firstly, that should give people a real clue as to who makes the decisions, in the world and what say they have. Because once they realise that they don't have any say in anything, they might start taking a bit of power back and a bit of responsibility and stop rolling over. So, well, it's okay because we get to vote. We get to vote the board out every 5 years. Programmable currency is the gate. If they can control your finances and the digital pound, the Bitcoin, CBDC is going to be very different to apps and cards that people use at the moment. So because you can go anywhere with them. Hey?
For people who never heard about CBDC, what's the CBDC stand for? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's central bank digital currency. So it's a blockchain ledger. It'll be like Bitcoin, except it'll be tied to you personally through a digital ID. So everything you spend will be monitored, but it will also be programmable, which means that we're able to control it. So they will sell it as, it'll look the same as your apps and cards that you're using now, but on the back end, it will be a completely different type of money system, still backed by nothing, if you like. But as far as we're concerned, the important thing is they will be able to control where we spend, what we spend on, and obviously switch it off altogether if you refuse whatever they want to get you to do. Now, having been through the scamdemic in the last 2 years, and lots of people now realise that they were goaded and coerced. I mean, I think they realised at the time they were being coerced into taking this shot. Because I'm doing it so I can go on a holiday. I'm doing it so I can go clubbing or go to a concert, whatever the hell. So they realised at the time anyway. But if we put that together now with they'll control your wallet if you don't acquiesce to it, then they will get the message. See, here's the thing: the public have been real programmed on the vaccine message, health, and on all the rest of it, and it's almost a taboo subject. Even though they know people, they now realise. You know what I mean? What they haven't been programmed in yet is the cashless society. They haven't been told that all digital currency is the answer to it, or all of our problems, because those problems haven't happened yet. They haven't been engineered and manipulated. They will bring on banking crises. They've been building up a debt mountain debt bubble for years and years and years and years. It's just a great big Ponzi scheme. At some point, it will collapse. We don't know when. It will probably collapse when they want it to collapse, when they're ready for it to collapse. But at some point, it will collapse and money will freeze. And they will have the solution because it's been cyber attacked or whatever they're going to say. And people won't be prepared and there'll be panic. And like, well, we'll make sure this doesn't happen again, and all the rest of it. So our campaign is basically to the same as it always is, the same as we do with the Lightpaper, as always doing with We Are the 99%. It's to raise public awareness. It's to let people know that there are plans afoot. Things don't just happen by themselves, and it's not just logical next steps. They're being managed, they're being engineered, and they can stop it. They can stop it quite easily. We don't have to, although we can do these things, we don't have to form a mass political party. We don't need a revolution. We don't need to storm Parliament or write to your MP. Just stop using the cards and apps and go back to cash. And the reason for that, well, there's two reasons. One is because they'll never say CBDC is to control everything you do. They'll say it's for safety, convenience, but because nobody's using cash anymore anyway. Last year only 10% of the transactions were. I mean, it's been going down from 60 to 50 to 40, whatever, and they're nudging people slowly. So if people want to fight back, all they need to do is just use cash everywhere. Go to the ATM, take the cash out that you need, and go spend it. Because the other thing that does is it keeps the facilities in place that service cash. So there's people that fill up those ATMs, and there's people that service them, and there's cash tellers and all the rest of it. If that goes, they go, well, we're all going cashless, so we're getting rid of all this equipment. They're not going to put it back in unless nobody goes to that place anymore. But we're not going to turn it around in a thunderclap. We're going to turn it around by going, hang on a minute, hold here, and let's move back. Use cash everywhere, pay with cash, and have a conversation with anybody who will listen. Here's why I'm using cash. This is why I like cash. I like the convenience of cards, but cash is pretty much as convenient, and it's also completely private. And also, they won't be able to nudge us onto the CBDC. Have you heard about the CBDC yet? I will guarantee 9 out of 10 people you speak to on the street won't have heard of CBDC, won't have anything about it.
I think the problem is that there is that seamless transition into CBDC, while people confuse this with card payments and contactless, because that's still money. They're just digital money, but they will not be, unlike CBDC, they will not be connected to your behavior, because CBDC is conditional money. It's not money. It's a coupon, which you can only exchange on the terms of issuing company entity. You will not be able to freely use it. So people are confusing this because they are thinking if they're paying contactless, they're already doing the same thing. So they can't see the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important to explain the difference. And the two ways that our campaign that we've only just started are doing that. One is we're going to raise funds. We're trying to raise £100,000. This is a ridiculously big target to put these big red eyes on 40-foot billboards in major cities to get that conversation going, nationwide. Hopefully the media will pick up on it and give us a whole bunch more free advertising, like millions more free advertising. If we got nowhere near the 100,000 and we get to like 5,000 or what have you, we will do great big posters or banners or what have you for activists to go around putting shops everywhere. And I suppose really it's they'll last a lot longer as well. It might be money better spent. So there's two ways that can go. It's up to people. We're not after necessarily millionaires. Although if somebody's got £100,000 in the back pocket, let's have it and we can get on with advertising this straight away. But if you've got a 5 or 10 spare, 20 quid, what have you, drop it in. It will all be spent on advertising. It will all be spent on materials, either the billboards or posters. But the other thing is, what we've done is we've got lots of red eyes, but I love cash, what have you. There's badges, there's stickers, there's flyers, both with different size posters. All the artwork is up on the cashesfreedom.uk website. So people print off flyers all the time. The artwork's there. Get them printed off, get them handed out in your local town as well. So there's two parts of the campaign. Obviously, that second part will be ongoing. Hopefully, we can make a big splash at some point in April, depending on how much money we can raise in the next couple of months. So, at the end of the day, I think if everybody's behind it, everybody gets the idea of it. It's just a case of letting people know. So if you can share the campaign. That's probably one of the best things that we can do. We're not the only people doing it. And I like the fact that there are several people, there are lots of organisations all over the world and in the UK. And, everybody's talking about it. You've got the digital ID, we've got the smart city agenda, which they're now calling 15-minute cities and low traffic neighbourhoods and blah, 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 all the different names that they give them. Obviously all the surveillance and then the digital currency, which will give them ultimate control. It's all part of the same agenda to control us. It's very easy to explain. We don't need to go conspiracy theory here anymore. We don't need
that's politics. That was always my approach as person from country which was under communistic regime. So I was kind of surprised with let's say True First movement with certain claims because for me it's politics as always. It's people doing bad stuff to other people. Oppressive regime. We used to have a type of CBDC which was rationing. You would only get coupons which will allow you to only acquire certain products, and that's what people don't understand. What's the beauty of capitalism, that you actually got products on the shelves. We had a bit of a demo sample of what communism looks like with all those queues during scamdemic. So queuing, so you will have to pretty much do the same. You will have to queue for bread or for milk. It will be very limited amount. You will only get certain amount per week, per month. That's what's possible with CBDC. This is basically digital coupon for food and rationing in place. So yes, the people need to really understand the threat. It's not just the convenience of contactless payment. Big thing coming, and all these things that you've mentioned, 15-minute cities, low traffic neighborhoods, they all seems to be not connected, but they form one great surveillance system and behavioral control system, because if you will drive in the wrong place or you do something that government doesn't like, they can freeze your account. They will not allow you to buy things. So this is scary prospect.
Yeah, you say that they're not connected, Rad, or they're unseemingly connected. But if anybody goes to the World Economic Forum website or looks over the agenda of the Bilderberg meetings or any of these high level meetings, obviously the G20, anybody looks over those, it's all there. It's all there. Digital ID, cashless society, online censorship, misinformation, and basically stamping out all those that oppose the agenda. So it is all connected, because here's what we're going to do, and here's us doing it. Now, I will disagree with you on one level, is that, and maybe or maybe not, it was true in Poland and Russia and the Soviet era. I don't know, but here or what's happening, you say it's politics. What politicians aren't making these decisions. The elected politicians, I'm public facing now, as far as the public's concerned. They vote for politicians, and the politicians form a government, and the government has an agenda, and the government implements that agenda. But politicians aren't making that agenda. There's no manifesto for any of this. Nobody's right. We want to build this, and we want a digital economy, what have you. But nobody's saying, yeah, we're going to surveil you, we're going to bring cashless society, we're going to have lock people down basically, and restrict your movements and all the rest of it. Nobody's voting for any of this for a start. But also, it's quite clear that nobody's making these decisions at any elected level. They're all made at the super billionaire level, and people really need to understand what's going on and how it's being done. They don't have a say in any of it. They haven't been asked for any of it. When there's consultations on the digital ID, there's consultations on the CBD. I would say a consultation on the CBDC. But and they'll always bring it in and sell it as something great, safe, convenient. We're already doing it anyway. It's going to make things better. All we need to do really as activists is do the same thing, but obviously in reverse. So, and the point is with us is true, obviously. So when you're talking about cash being safe and easy and private and free and convenient, they really are. They really are those things, and people know it. But it's just that it's the nudging and the behavioural modification. It's the people get used to it. People get used to it, and things change, and it's progress. Yeah. And what can you do? Well, you can do everything. You can do absolutely everything if you decide that you don't want to do it. And this is also part of the rebelling and defiance and what have you, is also part of what I like to call the constitutional renaissance, which I hope is sweeping the country more and more. And people rediscover the laws of the land that prevent anybody from doing anything that you don't want them to do to you. And that includes that's an individual or a company or a government. Just because a group of people are called a government, or they're members of parliament, or they're a council, or they're a multinational corporation, they still have no rights in this country, at least, the law of the land states you have no rights to create an obligation for anybody to do anything at all. Now, that's obviously useless if there's only 5 people that know that, or even 500 or 5,000 people that know. But once there's 5-10 million people that know that, I don't have to do what the government tell me. No, not at all. And they are criminals, and they are, and they want complete control of our lives. And it's actually a moral duty. It's not the right thing to do to pay taxes to go to war. Yeah, the hospitals are crumbling, the roads are crumbling. Where's your money going? Where's all our money going? We know where it's going. It's going to fund war criminals and Nazis and traffic, child traffickers and weapons and building the surveillance state, building all the surveillance system that they're going to use to enslave us. So, like I say, it's a moral duty. They work on this virtue signaling thing. It's we're saving the earth. The earth's fine. George Carlin said it. The earth's fine. It's the people that are screwed. And of course the earth. Of course the earth's fine. I'm looking at some images this morning of some climate change protests and what have you, and they genuinely think that we're killing the planet, that it's dying and all the rest of it. I mean, the evidence is bad. Well, I mean, they are polluting it. They are, they have done serious. They are haven't and are still doing serious damage. But it's the same companies that have done all this damage, the same multinational companies and the banks that support them, that fund them, are now telling us, the earth's in a terrible state, and people are going around picking on individuals, saying it's your fault and you've not to drive, and I'm gonna block the roads and what have you. We're living in crazy times as well as scary times, or what have you, or uncertain times. They're quite crazy, and the crazier they get, the more it behoves us to keep our feet on the ground and not be misfocused. Is that a word? Distracted, or with balloons and UFOs and all this other stuff that's meant to distract you. Yeah, I think Seymour Hersh, I don't know if we'll talk about everything, but Seymour Hersh, a very, very famous journalist, one of the only journalists that anybody's ever heard of, wrote an expose on the Nord Stream, on the US intelligence services, military, what have you, sabotaging the Nord Stream pipeline. Big news, pretty big news, across Europe, across the States, across the world. And of course, drowned out by some balloon somewhere, and there's a chemical spill and what have you. So, the masses, the media are there to distract the masses. What we find a lot with the truth movement is they follow along with it as well. So, something happens, an event happens, and people are, well, what it really is, and what is it? Just ignore the event completely. The event, they don't care. As long as your energy is on that event, yeah, whether you believe it or not, or it's this, that, and the other, and it's not on, opposing CBDC or, talking about the smart cities, the 15 minutes, whatever it is, talking about the things that they're doing right now and in the next couple of years that are going to obviously are going to enslave us and take away our freedom. Now, we can be talking about that all the time, but if you're spending time with all this other stuff that they use to distract you, then the focus goes there. We lose our energy and momentum. So it's important. I want to start this campaign out. People said it's kind of because it's not imminent. Yeah, it's not a threat right now. We're not going to lose cash tomorrow. Then people are kind of a little bit lethargic about it. And that's fair. It's fair. But that is the whole point of doing it now. I want to get ahead of it, before they really start talking about it in 24, 25. They really start bringing it in. If we can, get some momentum going and get a great big national conversation going. And I mean, it's hard to say because you're in your own bubble, you're in your own world. And obviously, I'm going to be talking about cash, and people are going to talk about paying cash and all the rest of it. So everybody says, a lot of people say, actually, I do need to pay cash more. I use my card far too much. So if that's you, stop using your card, and delete the apps, delete the pay apps from your phone, and use cash. Keeps the facility in place, and other people see other people using cash as well. You know what I mean? So we're influenced by each other. We're social animals.
Great. That's one thing I wanted to mention is success of Light newspaper, which you started. Interesting project. First independent media totally funded by people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can maybe talk us about Light Newspaper, about the project, how people can get involved.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it's a team effort. It's a huge team effort every month. There's a core team that help us put it together, and then there's hundreds of that. I don't know how many distributors there are now, but hundreds or thousands of distributors, and the papers last forever as well. That's what I like about it. If you put a paper in a business somewhere, or even through somebody's door or what have you, I mean, obviously, it's 50-50 probably, it can get completely thrown away. But if somebody, if somebody thinks there's interesting information in there, because it's so, to us, it's really natural. All we're doing is we're sharing the news that we all kind of know about, and we'd like to have exposed through online means, but quite clearly, that we're so echo chambered, it's not true. So, people don't know what you know. So we started the Lightpaper back in September 2020. I'm working on. We just delivered issue 30. It's a monthly publication. Anybody can write for it. Anybody can contribute. I say anybody. Obviously, there's there's a certain standard of quality and what have you. But it's open. We don't have a team of writers. We have people that write for us. Often. But it's completely open. It's by the people for the people. It's funded by the people. If people decide, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore, then it'll stop. You know what I mean? There's no other way around it. But it is a great vehicle for us to share information. Hundreds of thousands of copies every month. They go out nationally. People can do take them and use them wherever. Obviously, if you want to get involved in that, normally it's local groups or what have you. But you can pre-order copies on our website, thelightpaper.co.uk, and you can subscribe for one copy. That helps support us. You get obviously we'll send you a copy in the post every month. There's back issues available, etc., etc. If you want to advertise with us, if you've got an awake business or what have you, an alternative business where obviously the Sun or your local newspaper isn't going to reach the audience that you want. Obviously, there's that as well. And yeah, I mean, it's a real labour of love. We started out with flyers, and it just kind of became the next step. There were some inspirations in different places, and to be honest with you, I didn't know we were going to get past issue 1 or whether even issue 1 was going to make it. And once we did get to the finish line, and it came out, people were very, very positive. And then obviously a lot of people came to help and said, great, now it actually exists. And then it really took off from there. The Guardian really helped, with their hit piece, and Richie Allen really helped as well in the early days. Did an interview to let people know, because he was ranting, disappointed. And he was talking about this guy, yeah, we can all sing a song, stick your New World Order up. Yeah, that's all really nice, but where's the what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Where's the real things happening? And we said, well, you started an independent, alternative truth newspaper, so fair play to you, I suppose. It's gone from strength to strength. It's getting better and better. We're getting better at what we do, because I'm not in publishing. I'm a songwriter, singer, performer, musician. And long may it continue. Long may it continue. Like I say, it's by the people for the people. People, if you want to get involved with the Light, the best way to do it is obviously by the website. I don't know what else to say about the Light. I'm assuming everybody watching already knows about it.
And I managed to find one in local takeaway, which is I think success.
Yeah, I love it.
Which this is quite a random place to find the newspaper, but it just tells you it's doing its rounds. I've seen this in small local shops as well, places where I wouldn't expect. So it's getting out there. But that's one thing I wanted to discuss with you as well. We connected actually through, you were just starting Lightpaper, and that was a moment where I also started my live stream from protest. And you reached out to me because of situation in Sheffield, when police tried to arrest Peace Corbyn, and they battered one man so badly that he ended up nearly killed on site, and that's how we first connected. And I think it was protest in Manchester. We went together for that one, and yeah, so we've been in touch for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So interesting chapter in our lives. One thing about media, because there seems to be completely hijacked like government by certain entities that don't work for us, don't work for public benefit. Aside of Lightpaper, what do you think is solution to this? What people can do to support independent media? How can we break this monopoly and censorship of the information?
Well, I don't think we are necessarily, because it's, obviously takes ridiculous amounts of money to compete, and we're not even that good at getting organised. So I think it's one of the reasons why people support the Lightpaper, because it's something we've got off the ground and is works. But here's the thing, and again it relates back to the paper as well. There's nothing as powerful as a person-to-person conversation. That's the best form of advertising you can possibly have. For somebody you know, great. Somebody you don't know, that's fine as well, as long as it's it's one of those things. I have conversations all the time, and it just clicks, about the situation. Normally, cash queues or cashier queues, etc., etc. So we can't compete directly, with them. If you can get on the telly and give a bit of truth for 5 minutes, then great. And I think we need to do our media, because people will come across it, but also for ourselves as well. We need to inform each other. So we've got to find out what's going on somehow, what each other are up to, and what's going on in different parts of the world. We need to stay connected. But really, the best thing you can do is be out there in your local community, which just means being out locally. You know what I mean? When you go out, wear a t-shirt, wear a Truth t-shirt, get conversations started, hand out leaflets, get some light papers, hand out light papers. Some people want to talk for a while. Some people just take one. Some people say no thanks. Put them in chippies and businesses, flyers, posters, stickers. And any other way, if you're an artist, bring your art to the table, as it were. If you write songs, write some songs. If you're a graphic artist, do that. Whatever it is you do, everybody's got a mouth. Most people have got a mouth and some legs. So, we've all got a part to play, and it will only work with everybody doing it as well. Because that's our only power. Our only power is people power. Our only power is our numbers. And the more of us there are, the more noise we can make. If there's 1 million people up and down the country every day having a conversation about using cash, about CBDC, about smart cities, about whatever, about COVID, whatever, have a conversation about anything you want. But if there's 1 million people doing it, that beats all their bullshit. Hands down. All their, you can have as many, because people are tired of it. I think people are starting to realise. They say they realise they've been conned. And they realise the media are part of it. They thought the media were biased before, but now they see them. A lot of people see them as they truly are. So give people the permission to express their views, because a lot of people still think that they're on their own. They don't realise there's a great big movement community out there, out here of us. It was 1 million people in London marching. Now, some of those people weren't awake. They just had enough of lockdown, what have you. But there's a great big movement up and down the country. There really is. And we need to be welcoming. We need to be open. We need to stop being so divided over purposely distracting stuff. Everybody's different, and if we're not different, I don't really want to live in the world, to be honest. We need to accept our differences. We need to accept that we're all different, that this person thinks this and that person thinks that, but we're all fighting for the same thing. We should all be focused and unified on fighting for the freedom to bear those differences, to live those differences and allow them, and have a world with the range of human humanity, the range of things that we do and think and say and create and what have you. Yeah, no two people are alike. We're never all going to agree on everything, but we've got to this stage, especially with social media, wrecking our brains, that yeah, I agree with that person on 4 things, but they said that, so they're off my Christmas card list now. What, we children in the playground here? I mean, it's we're in a war. It's a serious business at the end of the day. This is the future freedom of all generations. Yeah, so you need to stop going, oh, that person just did a hand sign, or that person did, yeah, okay. We need to get serious and get on with it. And really, when it comes to who should we do? By their fruit shall you know them. Yeah, join the campaigns and the people and the things that you think are doing things and worthwhile. And you never have to marry yourself to any of it anyway. Most people will come across this person, come across that person, come across the other, and go through all the things, and that's great. We should take advice and what have you, information from as many people as possible. But when it comes to the actual move, when it comes to the nitty gritty, yeah, we need to stop the negative, the division, the apathy. Don't do that. That won't work. There's no point in that. I support every initiative that's useful and positive and going in the right direction. I will obviously try and publicise them in the Lightpaper, and share and post and all the rest of it. We need to support each other. They're very organised. Yeah, just because they're evil and their plans are abominable, doesn't mean that they're not. At the end of the day, they're far more organised. They obviously got far more resources, but that doesn't make any difference. Once enough people know what's going on, they will stop complaining. We need mass non-compliance, but we're not going to get to mass non-compliance without mass public awareness, and we can't get to mass public awareness if people are bickering online and calling each other out and not doing anything useful. So I don't pay attention. I'll be honest, I don't pay any attention to it. I'm sure there's people that absolutely slag me off like crazy. I don't care, because if I cared or I paid attention to it or what have you, I wouldn't be able to actually get on with what we've got to do, all the campaigns and all the paper and everything else, and the band and free trade and what else, truthware. So
I completely agree with your message, Darren. And since start, I was talking to all leaders of all groups. I started live streaming this. I realized this is getting reach. It wasn't maybe as spectacular as Light newspaper, but I managed to get this, especially during this first year. There was not many people doing live streams, and it was completely suppressing mainstream media. So that's how I got into this. But yes, I was never into tribal fights and into division. And again, like, I'm still kind of surprised why we can have 1 million people on the street and still no political party, especially that we know that there is no political representation whatsoever. Same like we can fund, let's say, Lightpaper. Why can't we maybe spare tenner each month to have our own political representation? I don't think it's far off. And one thing which you mentioned, they are extremely organized, and we're not. And like just protesting, it seems only defer certain things, but not. It does not constitute automatically the alternative. So I hope that this will be evolving into more of an organization, because we are not in the government, so we are kind of always forced to play cat and mouse. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think if the right thing comes along, I think people will support it. You've got the Freedom Alliance, which is obviously is kind of set up to be a collection of all, a collective of all the freedom parties, I suppose. For me, it's. I'm just not. I'm not particularly interested in the political thing, purely because, even though everything we do is politics, it's their system, and Parliament set up. It should be. Parliament's there just to run the things, not to tell us what to do. Now, Obviously, it's become that. It's developed that. And, you know, I'm more of the mind of, if everybody knows their rights, their constitutional rights, the law of the land, yeah, which courts must uphold, or they are not, you know, they are corrupt courts, and they can be brought to justice. Then you know, it doesn't matter who's in the government and what they're doing and what they're saying. Everybody says, no, you're not doing that. And when they try to put up a camera or a bollard or what have you, the entire community goes, no, you're not doing it, and takes it down or stops it. Or the workers refuse to do it, you know, because everybody knows what's going on, you know. You know, tyrants can give all the edicts they want. If people say no, or just laugh. Yeah, you want me to close my business because of because what? Because you've got somebody falling over on the street on the telly there. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do anything, in fact, that you tell me to do, because I would imagine that nothing you tell me to do is for my benefit or my community, my family's benefit. So I'm actually going to completely refuse. So while I would support a political party, I've always said that that political party needs to be all about removing legislation, removing all these silly laws and what rules and what have you that rob us and dumb us down and you know, and get the whole country going in the wrong direction. You know, obviously the climate change hoax, the climate crisis hoax, is such a good example.
Have you heard the newest interview when Greta on the record admitted that climate change is hoax? I will
Sorry,
send you. I will send you a link.
hoax.
She actually said this, since climate change crisis isn't real. That's what she said, this on record. I will find this and I will send it to you.
Yes, please. Maybe she got red pilled by Ezra from Rebel News in Davos when he was following her on the streets. But you know, where was I going with it? You know, you've got this faulty science about climate. It's been proven nonsense, but we're still doing all these policies. Yeah, and we're doing these policies because the government's corrupt, it's evil, it's been overtaken. You know, it's been infiltrated, if you like. So again, it's our moral duty to not comply, to refuse to comply. We don't need to go there and smash it down or beat the people up or put them in prison or any of this. But what we do need to do is ignore them, and so they have, you know, they have no power. Now, again, you know, the fact that we need 20 million people to do that is politics, yeah. But we could also look at it as advertising or marketing or PR or public, you know, raising public awareness is one of the best ways to do it, because we're just trying to show people the truth, the reality of the situation, what is really planned and what they really mean by 15-minute cities and the digital revolution and the fourth industrial revolution and all these things, that they're not for people's benefits. I think people suspect that. I think that the more noise we make, the more empowered they will feel. We need to encourage everybody. Give them courage, give them strength and fortitude to fight, to say no, to simply say no. You know, when masks or lockdowns or any of that stuff, but anything similar. You know, oh, you have to go around. You can only do 100 trips a year to the. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No, we're not doing it. You know, and the whole community gets together and you know, burns the bloody planters in the middle of the night, gets rid of them. I'm not advocating, you know, obviously criminal damage of any kind, but you know, civil disobedience is important when a criminal mafia run the government, and a criminal mafia run the government.
Of
You know,
course, we're not
they're not
advocating
corrupt. They're not evil.
anything.
Oh, sorry, they're not just greedy or incompetent. You know, the MPs are, the politicians are. God, yeah, the puppets out front are, but the people way behind that run the banking system, that run the corporations, that run the UN, that run all the NGOs and the WF and the think tanks. You know, they have a plan to control everybody, and whoever is supporting that plan, guess what? You're going to get eaten up by it as well, because one day, well, it's not going to happen because we're going to stop it. But their plan is basically to have robots, AI, and all the rest of it do almost all of the work, and they are the only people left on Earth. You know, they'll probably have 500 million, like the Georgia Guidestones states, as complete deltas or epsilons, just slaves to serve, and you know, humanity's gone. And somebody wrote Pete. It was somebody. It was a great letter in the Lightpaper a couple of months ago. It's not just that these people are evil. It's like they're boring, really dull bastards. None of these people create art or are funny or and Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates has to do or say. They're not interesting people at all. And the world, they want a world that's just them with Prince Charles and and I don't and Sam Smith entertaining them, I suppose. You know what I mean? It's a really boring, crappy world that they want to create. And not only is it evil and tyrannical as well. Not only are these people, genocidists, eugenicists, but they're really boring bastards, and really in that should be an anathema today in today's world. You know what I mean?
It was actually amazing. All those freedom marches, they were like festivals. People very cheerful, happy, non-violent. That was always recharging me personally.
Yeah.
That was like more. I was restoring my moral battery.
Yes.
Seeing all those people standing for the same thing, and then if you remember all those ill advice like social distancing, which is in itself is absurd. How can you socially distance? What's social is in distancing. I don't remember that hugging that many people over first 2 years, 2020 and 21.
30,000 people all hugging each other, and nobody got COVID.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, rallies are great. Rallies are great for so many different reasons. It's absolutely not the be all or the end all. I think people realised very, very quickly during 2020 that although we were having these mass rallies, they were being completely ignored by the media, except the bit at the end where they sent the police in to beat people up and then said it was a violent, we were violent anti-vaxxers. It's how the media do. So again, we're not gonna, they own the media. They're never going to portray us as who we are, and they're never going to portray our message properly. But you can every day with your life, with how you go about your life, with your co-workers, with the people in the shops, with people on the bus, with people wherever you are. Yeah, wear a truth t-shirt or a truth jumper or what have you, or stickers or badges. And have the conversation. It's really worthwhile. You are the media. We are the media.
BBC was sticker bumped in every location. BBC was sticker bump, which was nice.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see. This is a smart way to protest. Very visible, very to the point. So media are compromised. That's why I started doing podcasts as well. This is new form for me. Obviously, it is difficult to be logistic of being live on the street all the time. It's not always possible,
especially in the winter.
That could be the case, but mostly just logistic of that. And again, it's like leafleting campaign, any campaign to raise awareness, podcast, any interviews, videos. They will be working their way through. People will be watching them. They will be drawing their own conclusion, which we want. We're not here to sell you propaganda. We want to do opposite. We want to debunk the propaganda, and actually, we want you to draw your own conclusion. We're just showing you other points of view, which are suppressed. And that's the goal of Lightpaper, goal of my podcast, goal of any activists to just raise awareness.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we want to do, isn't it? Every activist wants to, share the information, but there's a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it as well. Shouting at people's never going to work. Being divided from them, calling them sheep. I've never done that. I hate it. You know, and all that kind of stuff. There are far better ways to approach it. Look, our enemy, the rulers, are really good at it. They're really good at soft soaping people and telling them what they want to hear and giving them the, you know, the spin over lies. And you know, and we have the simple truth. You know, we have freedom and truth. You know, our goal is freedom. You know, we're a cult. We're a cult that brainwashes people into thinking for themselves and wanting to live their own lives on their own terms and not have anybody else control them whatsoever. We're a cult that brainwashes you into not being a cult anymore.
Have you heard about 3.5% rule?
Say again.
Have you heard about 3.5% rule?
3.5%.
Yes, this actually, that was ironically, that was on BBC, that non-violent protests are twice as likely to succeed if engagement is a threshold of 3.5% of population. So basically, this is possible to make significant change and pressure on the political system if we got 3.5%. So like number wise, we got 68 million population in UK. That would give us 2.4 million. So we are, I'm pretty sure at those numbers, because 20 million people refused forced medical treatment, and we had 1 million people on the street in London. So I'm sure that we are at this number already. It's just a question that that's 2.4 to 1.5 million people need actively do what you just said, like constantly pushing. So everybody got role to play. We need to come over our differences and just get our act together and just say no.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is as simple as that. You know, okay, look, it's a lot of hard work, and you know, or rather, we need to do the work, and people need to, you know, we need to create and share and you know, put the effort in, but we don't need to raise an army, and we don't need to form a political party to do it. I mean, you know, if we've got political representation, so much the better. I have no problem with that, you know. But it's like I say, it's so much easier than that. Or you have to transform your life so that, you know, your very existence becomes an act of rebellion, as it were. But you don't need to be out there tying yourself to railings and smashing things up and all the rest of it. Just simply, you know, always be the person that's paying cash. Everyone knows you're paying cash. Everyone knows that why. You know, you're the person. You know, you're handing out leaflets and flyers all the time and papers, and you know. One by one, you know, we're not going to get 1 million people at once. Obviously, when they pull their next trick and their next deception, it will wake a whole load more people up, because you know 2020 was a massively pivotal time. So many people woke up with the COVID thing, and you know, very quickly, you know, seeing what happened. So it does us favors, you know. At the end of the day, they're what they do is, it's always a gamble, because they're breaking cover now all the time. They create an overtly totalitarian state, you know, system, what have you. Then at some point, cameras go up, and you know, laws get passed and systems get put in place, and at some point, people will notice this cage being put around them. But if they're being told, don't worry, it's all for your safety, it's all to make things better. We're just progressing into the digital age where we can keep an eye on everything, keep you safe, and keep your money safe, and you know, keep the economy safe, and make sure we can manage everything really well. Just on that level, by the way, how the hell are people trusting them to do that? They've made a complete balls up of everything over the last 100, 200 years. You know, look, you look back in the 18th century, so look at the buildings that are being, but even the 20th century, there was an abundance and everything was cheap and free, and things were growing and whatever. That can still happen. It's not like we're at the end of humanity, you know what I mean? For as long as mankind exists, we'll need stuff, and we'll produce stuff, and we'll want stuff, share, exchange stuff, and there'll be an economy. Yeah. The only difference is it just doesn't need to be managed. It doesn't need to be managed at all. People think we have capitalism now, like a proper free trade or free market, should we say?
No,
we don't.
Capitalism, and we got like a massive monopoly of certain entities. And
it's fashion. It's
Yes,
big business tied with government.
by definition, it is fascism. That was also my sad realization, because before 2020, I was complete normie. I never questioned the system around me. I just kept my head down. So yeah, I agree with you on that. But people, again, one thing that you mentioned, that the small things like acts of communication with other people, they can do a lot, because literally, like queue in a shop, like I always engage with people who are queuing to see cashier. I always complain about self-serve deals. I always engage with cashiers. um, I had a situation when one lady led me through the queue because I just had a handful of items. So I said, it's very kind of you. Not many people are doing this. They're not happy to engage with humans, like do little gestures, smile, talk. So I said, it's really great that you're doing something like this. So we had a friendly chat. It's little things, and like we are now reaching to people who would be otherwise never reach, because those people will now possibly watch our live streams. They will not read Lightpaper, or they will maybe shy away from people protesting on the street.
Yeah.
But they are out there, and like for me, if you see queue in the market, supermarket, whatever, it means people are saying no to use self-service tills. They're still using cash, and it's a question of communicating them why it's important to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in if you're in the cashier's queue, then it's absolutely the time. And someone's looking back. Yeah, and looking over there, and there's nobody using the self-service tills. We want the people. The more we do this, we know that the more tills are going to open up. Yeah, it's people power. At the end of the day, we know which way they want it to go. We can demand it goes the other way. We don't accept anything that's about to be plans. I think that's the other thing as well. People get demoralised a little bit. People that are awake and are activists and do want to fight it, do want freedom, and can see the deception, get very demoralised that these are the plans, and that's just the way they present them. They're just really good at selling. This is the way it's going to be with our fourth industrial revolution, and everybody's going to have to adapt and have a chip in your brain. Bollocks. I mean, that was a whole thing with the song. Stick your new world order up your arse. It really is an expression of complete and utter rebellion and non-acceptance, non-compliance, and I will fight with every fibre of my body, to raise awareness of those plans. I don't have to strap a bomb to myself and blow myself up or do anything crazy or abnormal or what have you. Well, in fact, we just need to be normal. We need to be normal, free, loving, compassionate people, which is what we are, which is why we're doing it. Otherwise, we won't be here in the first place. We spend our time doing, other things. So we need to show that. Don't be demoralised. Don't be demotivated. They want that. It's the art of war. Appear strong when you are weak. Demoralise the enemy so they just run away without even fighting. It's a very easy battle, if you like, but you do have to fight it. You do have to put the effort in. So if you are demoralised and depressed and you haven't got the energy to do it, then work on yourself first. Forget about going to rallies and campaigns and stuff. Get yourself to a place where you are feeling healthy and well and energetic, and you want to serve. You want to give good service and take part in campaigns and chat to people and all the rest of it. And normally that's diet and exercise and sleep, rest, and also having something, something that's genuinely motivating to do. So if you're awake and in a job right now and you absolutely hate your job, then work on changing it. Work on starting your own business. If it takes you a year, 2 years to set it up, then whatever. But we all need something to look forward to. We all have to have hope. It's really, really important. So. And it's another way we can be unified as well, because happy and positive people don't argue and don't get distracted and don't get down, I suppose. So we need more of those as well. So work on yourself, get yourself to a place where you're ready to fight and positive and what have you, and then come join the fight. There's lots of things going on. Form a local group, join a local group, just everywhere. They're in every town. If you think you're the only person awake in your town or village, then you're wrong. Put a notice somewhere, put a light paper somewhere. We always put a box on the bottom of the paper, so this light paper was distributed by. So you put an email or a phone number or whatever you want, some kind of contact. Cool. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss, Rad? I think we're almost out of time now.
Yes, so Oxford. So there will be protests against dividing town in zones. What people should know about this? Why should they bother? Why it is important? What's happening in Oxford now?
Yeah, well, Oxford's kind of the poster child for it, but it's going on in Bath. It's going on in 5 or 10 other cities. Everybody imagine it's going to go on in every city, basically. So, but Oxford's kind of the poster child for it, and especially there's quite a climate group, movement there and what have you as well. But it just so happens, well, that might be why they're doing it there. Anyway, it's all part of the slow process. So 15-minute cities, all you learn is to save emissions and traffic. How can that possibly be logical in the first place? Yeah, you've got to drive around. You can't just go through there. You've got to go all the way around, use far more fuel. It's just nonsense. It's more mad policies that people aren't going to put up with. So, thousands are going to go down there on Saturday for a big rally in the centre, and then a march and outreach, information outreach, to support the Oxford residents. We know it's going to go on everywhere, but we also know that this is going to be a public display of defiance, a public display of we don't want this, because while it might be sold as something that's going to be helpful and useful to the environment, and it's not. I mean, just think about it. Obviously, you can't drive through certain, so you have to keep going around and what have you. It's obviously going to use more fuel and more emissions. So it's the wrong solution to a non-existent problem, because the bottom of the thing, and people accept for some reason, people forget to stop going back, and let's get rid of the premise. Let's reject the premise that the weather, is a problem, or that we're suddenly killing the earth. Corporations are polluting, and they have been doing for many years, and they should be held to account. And the chemicals and all the other things that they come up with, but that's got nothing to do with us. We love the environment. We want to have a nice, clean place to live in. But everything that they do is against that. Everything that they do is about economic control. It's about deindustrialization. It's about taking people's freedom away. Taking people's freedom and choices away, and it will be bit by bit by bit, encroaching. Oh, you can have 200 trips here, 100 trips here, 50 trips here, 10 trips here. Right, you're stuck there. You're stuck in a little zone now. 5, 10 years later. It's how they do. It goes bit by bit by bit. So CBDC, if they ever get to it, it'll come in. It'll be a wonderful thing. No, we're not going to program it. We'll all be open. It's exactly the same as you've already got now. 5 years down the road, we're going to have to restrict everybody because of the virus. We can't let you out more than 5 minutes from your house, so your wallet won't work more than 5 minutes from your house, etc., etc. You know what I mean? It will always be bit by bit by bit. You'll never see the jail door closing. So, if you are an activist, you want to go out and meet people. Good thing about rally is to reach the general public, because they may not know. There's been a lot of awareness campaigns in Oxford, so hopefully we'll see what the public reaction is like, and we'll see where we're up to with it as well. But it's a great chance to meet lots of other awake people. Presumably people that you're friends with on social media as well, and go down there and meet. But the vibe's great. It's exactly as you're saying. Those protest marches and rallies in London, 2020 and 2021. They were more like festivals. There were positive, uplifting, obviously, because people had been isolated and separated what was going on, and hundreds of thousands and millions of people on the street all of a sudden. So they were great. They were positive, uplifting. I thought if I speak to Danny Ramplin before I was interviewing for the next Lightpaper, and he said how similar the vibe is to the old rave days. The collective consciousness, that vibe. So it's uplifting. So if you are a bit down, go. You will meet lots of energized people. The vibe and energy should be great. Obviously, it's a chance to meet the public. speak to the public, and also engage where we're at with it as well. And just a great day out. You may well hear "We Are the 99% a couple of times.
Great, Darren. I will just recap. Where people can find more information. So, first page would be cashisfreedom.uk. That's cash campaign. Cashisfreedom.uk.
That's terrible.
Then lightpaper.co.uk. I posted them in the chat.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Just to recap, so you can download past issues. If you got problem with accessing paper, you can download past issues from website. You can contact, engage, send articles if you're interested. And if I can help to share this, if possible, so we can build better reach. I'm at the moment banned on Facebook, compelled speech platform, same like YouTube, by the way, but we try to not to refer to forbidden words today.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you, Darren. Thank you for joining me. Let's see each other in Oxford. And as far as Oxford goes, it will be Saturday, 18th of February. It's starting at 1 o'clock on Broad Street. We got a community event with a few speakers coming up, but we're not really coming there for speakers. We're coming there to say no and to meet people. And because this is ground zero of what they're trying to implement, it's very important to give them clear and strong message that we're not interested. So I'm looking to see you in Oxford, Darren. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers, Rad. See you.